Generally, when you think about what is recyclable, there's three things to consider: science, technology, and economics. So by science, I mean, is that material physically able to be recycled? Is it possible to grind it, melt it, do whatever needs to be done to form it into, again, new material? Then there's the technology. When that thing arrives at a sorting facility, does the technology exist to properly sort it and identify it as being recyclable so then it can be processed into new materials? And the third one is economics. And that's really a big one. And that's what's hitting us a lot right now, is that even though a lot of things technically could be recycled because they're made from a recycled material, and it might be possible to separate them out and identify them, but there's no market. If they're worth so little money that a waste company is going to lose money by recycling them, it's often cheaper to send them to landfill. And that's unfortunately what's happening with a lot of plastics. And sometimes even with other stuff that's more valuable, like metals and glass, that should be able to be recycled, but for different reasons isn't getting recycled. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. So my 5 myths, I'll give you a little preview, but you'll get the file and you can read it all in detail. So first of all, we've got these big blue recycling bins, and a lot of people think, okay, that's great, that's really easy. I can just dump everything that I think might be recyclable into that blue bin. That's the wish cycler, who says, well, yeah, sure, plastic, metal, glass, paper, that's all recyclable, right? It goes in the bin. Sometimes people even put garbage in their bins, containers that are dirty, stuff that really shouldn't be there. And the idea that, okay, that's going to just improve recycling if we put everything in the blue bin. It improves the rate of stuff going to a sorting facility, which is also called a MRF, material recovery facility. It's going to a MRF into here's this stuff for recycling, but then it's not necessarily actually getting recycled. The other big thing is the numbers on plastic packaging. They have these numbers 1 through 7. It has a nice little triangle, right? It looks like a friendly recycling symbol. Yes, it's the type of plastic that it's made out of. So 1 is PET, which is the plastic water bottles. 2 is HDPE. Don't worry about remembering all the acronyms, but that's like milk jugs and stuff. So I've got lots of information that tells you what all those different numbers are. And generally, a lot of times, the numbers 1, 2, and 5 are recyclable, but not necessarily. You got to go with what type of product it is. And that's where we get into the technology things. So if it's a plastic water bottle, a recycling facility can easily identify it and put it where it belongs. But some other things, the shapes are just a mix of stuff and they can't tell. Yes, and then the plastic grocery bags. And my guess is a lot of you all know this, that they do not belong in the blue recycling bin, because what happens is they clog up the machinery at the sorting facilities. And I went to the facility, the Cascade facility in Woodinville, and the person there, I went on a tour, which it's a fascinating tour. I recommend doing it. It's pretty cool. But she said at least once every day, they have to stop the machines because there's plastic bags that have gotten into the gears and gummed them up, and it stops the whole machinery, and they have to shut everything down and take them out and deal with them. And this is even when they've got people, employees there who are pulling out that kind of stuff, but it's going by really fast on a conveyor belt, and they just can't grab it all. I can't imagine just trying to concentrate for however many hours their shift is, pulling everything out, and they don't get it. So the plastic grocery bags don't go in there. Most grocery stores have a place where they'll take them and collect them. There we go. Compostable plastics. Those are those plastic cups that they say eco, they say compostable on them, the plastic forks that have a cute little hole in them. Those do not go in recycling because they'll contaminate the recycling. Ideally, they go in compost. And here in Seattle, we have composting facilities that accept all those kind of compostable plastics. But if you don't have that as an option, then the trash is the next best bet. And then we've got our next myth here is about paper, about all types of paper being recyclable. And there's some particular things that aren't, or sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't, because actually they're not just paper, they're coated with plastic. So you gotta just look carefully.